As the saying goes, grand ambitions falter, lost in the night. Master Say seeks the path at midnight's call. Where are you going? A hunter holding a spear asked loudly. At the same time, several people were also observing Chan say, "May I ask which direction is Qinshui County?" Logically, I crossed the mountain and headed south. I should be able to see a river. River? Several hunters are facing each other. Are you talking about the old Qinshui River? Chan Say should have returned. The man said he heard from an old person. The previous Qinshui River changed its course over 20 years ago. So that's how it is. Chan Say suddenly realized. How far is it from here to Qinshui County? The man pointed to the east. Walk in that direction for about 20 to 30 miles. You'll be almost there. Chan Say thought to himself. That's not very far. With my speed, it only takes a little over 10 minutes. Thank you all so much, Chan Say said as he turned and left. Qiufang asked, It's getting dark, distinguished scholar. It is very dangerous for you to travel now. Chan Say thought to himself. This man is not bad. He turned around and looked back. Ever since Chan Say cultivated, he has been able to see the aura around others. The big man is surrounded by a red and black aura, which is not easy to notice if you don't look carefully. So Chan Say began his performance. There was no way he could stay overnight here, and the weapons held by a few people also looked intimidating. Chan Say showed fear. Several hunters immediately relaxed. He laughed heartily and said, Sir, rest assured. We are hunters, thank you very much. Not bandits. And if you don't mind, please come and sit down. Join us tomorrow on the way back. Chan Say pretended to look pleasantly surprised. Thank you all so much. The enthusiastic man briefly introduced a few companions. Chan Say also introduced herself. She made up a reason for coming to this area. Then she chatted with the hunters. When the time was right, Chan Say took the opportunity to ask Qiufang. I noticed that Brother Fang's eyes are dark. Have you not been resting well recently? Qiufang agreed with Chan Say and said that he had been having nightmares for over a month. Chan Say asked, What did you dream about? I have some understanding of dream interpretation. Qiufang scratched their head and said, Nightmares. Either about creatures or ghosts, most of them are hard to remember clearly. But often, in the dream, they see a pair of bloodshot green eyes, very scary. Has Brother Fang not gone to the city god temple to pray? Qiufang replied that their Qinshui County is too small, and does not have a city god temple. Chan Say thought, so that's why he has been harassed for over a month without anyone paying attention. When night fell, everyone fell into a deep sleep. Qiufang was sweating profusely, clearly having another nightmare. Chan Say walked quietly to his side. Reach out and gently gather a bit of spiritual energy using spiritual power. Tap on Qiufang's forehead. The latter's expression quickly became peaceful. This should be able to suppress it temporarily. Unfortunately, I still don't know how to enter dreams. Can't cure it. Early the next morning, the trap left by the hunters actually caught a deer. Chan Say took advantage of the joy and asked if they could enter the village to buy a meal. In reality, he wanted to go over and explore what is on Qiufang's body. The hunters are very hospitable, inviting Chan Say to their homes for a meal. They happen to be eating venison. Since fate has brought us together, how can I leave without resolving the matter? As the saying goes, with skillful guise, change say pass with ease. Fate unfolds a twist unseen. Chan Say and the hunters gather together merrily. They are having dinner at Xingding's house. After everyone has eaten and drunk their fill, start inviting Chan Say to stay at home. Chan Say readily accepted Qiufang's invitation. Tonight, he stayed at his house. In the middle of the night, a piercing cat's cry suddenly sounded. Chan Say sat up straight from the bed and looked out the window. He saw at least a dozen stray cats or house cats crouching on the roof of the main house. Chansei felt his scalp crawling as he watched. Watching the dark green shadows shifting on the roof. What on earth is this dirty stuff? Chansei quietly sat up. He reached out his fingers and gently touched a bit of oil lamp. Then activate spiritual power. Flicked his finger. The kerosene flew straight towards Chiu Fang's bedroom. It landed right in the oil lamp in the middle of the room. The oil lamp splattered out dozens of drops of oil, flying towards the surroundings of the room. This move is Chansei's martial arts technique, combining with water-controlling skill. It's very impressive. Chansei then lit a match. He blew gently with his spiritual energy. A spark unexpectedly did not extinguish. It flew into Chiu Fang's house. Then he entered a meditative state. The Dan furnace in the imaginary scene started burning fiercely, with flames leaping out. At the same time, the flames inside Chiu Fang's house surged instantaneously. A piercing scream rang out. A dark green breath rushed out of the house. Chansei said, "Is that all? I thought it would be more powerful." On the other side, Chiu Fang's mother heard a shout and hurried to her son's room to check. Chiu Fang said he just had another nightmare. He encountered a creature, but this time, the creature was suddenly burned by a big fire. Chansei also put on clothes. Pretending not to know anything, he came to ask what was going on. Fang's mother said she just had a nightmare. It's nothing. Chansei glanced at Chiu Fang and saw that although his face was a little pale, there was nothing serious. Early the next day, Chansei found Xingding and asked where Chiu Fang's family ancestral tomb was. Xingding looked puzzled and asked, "Why do you need to know, sir?" Chansei replied, "I just want to take a look." Brother Ding doubted him. Xingding directly said he didn't believe it. They had just met the Fangers recently, and their relationship was not at the level of paying respects to their ancestors. Chansei had to reveal the truth. Brother Ding must have heard the screams from last night. Xingding was sweating profusely and said, Yes. I was just about to ask, sir. What happened last night?" Chansei gave a mysterious smile and said, "Follow me. You will know when the time comes." Xingding was puzzled and curious, so he brought Chansei to the mountains behind the village. "Mr. Chan is here. Why is it so chilly?" Chansei moved closer and looked at the inscription in front of her. Then a reminder, "Brother Ding, stand back a bit. Don't get your clothes wet. Extend your right hand and point towards the grave. A mustache suddenly appears in front of your index finger. Then, swiftly pull back with force." Then a sound of water emerged. Xingding looked horrified as a stream of dirty water appeared, flowing out from Chiu Fang's father's grave. The sewage flowed out like a muddy water dragon being pulled along. It sprayed more than 3 meters into the distance. Then a hoarse roar came from the grave. Xingding was so frightened that his body froze. Chansei turned back and smiled. "Don't be afraid. I'm here. Everything will be fine." In her hand was a burning wick. Chansei blew out a breath. The wick flew into the tomb with a steady, unextinguished flame. Suddenly, a burst of fire erupted. The terrifying howls grew even sharper. Stopped about a minute later. Chansei sighed. It really was Een corpse. The tale of the outsiders writes, "Those afflicted by the Een corpse curse. What a tragedy for future generations." As the saying goes, the Een corpse wreaks havoc, cursing future generations. Fate's thread was not severed, and by chance, salvation appears. Chansei said, "Dust returns to dust. Soil returns to soil. The matter is resolved. Let's go, Brother Ding." Remember to have Chiu Fang arrange for a new location for his father. Don't mention this matter to others. Xingding's legs are a bit shaky at the moment. He nodded repeatedly in agreement. Chansei is walking down the road. A black chess piece flashed and disappeared from his sleeve. It turned out to be a black piece again. Afterwards, Chansei bid farewell to everyone. He instructed Qiu Fang to remember to burn incense at the land god temple. Then the nightmares will stop. Qiu Fang clasped his hands in salute and promised to follow the instructions of the master. The matter has been resolved. Chan Se turned and left. Xing Ding looked at Qiu Fang and suddenly said to her, "Bow to your husband twice." Qiu Fang looked puzzled and asked, "Why?" Xing Ding recalled Chan Se's words and decided not to say anything else. At Ning'an County Academy, Zhao Xianyin is teaching children to read. He suddenly called a stop. He is ready to try teaching with Chan Se's method. Today I'm changing the topic. Everyone can join the discussion. Share your views. The children are discussing enthusiastically. It's the first time they have encountered such a novel teaching method. Zhao Xianyin started telling a mythological story. There is a phoenix tree in the North Sea, towering 30,000 feet above the sea. The children who were too timid to speak up before now eagerly raised their hands one after another, all eager to have a try. I didn't expect Mr. Chan's teaching through fun approach to be so effective. He picked up a writing brush. He began writing something on the paper. On the other side, Chan Se suddenly felt something in his heart. Under contemplation, a chess piece appeared on the fingertip. Vaguely, Chan Se could see through the chess piece. It's such a blessing to have a friend like Master Yin, who can see through one's thoughts. Unknowingly, summer has arrived, and Chan Se has finally reached Adu Mountain, where Zwa lunatic tomb is located. According to the records in the sword intent scroll, we should be near the tomb mound here. Chan Se squatted down, using an oiled paper umbrella to push aside a cluster of tall weeds, revealing the mottled tombstone behind. The inscription on the stone reads, "The grave of Li Zwa, the family father." Zwa lunatic is indeed not his real name. Chan Se kneels beside the grave and bows to him, "Great hero Zwa. Your martial arts skills are unparalleled. You walk alone in the martial world. I didn't expect to end up like this in the end." After kowtowing, Chan Se lightly leaped onto the rocks behind the tomb. He activated his spiritual energy. A small stone flew into his hand. He started exerting force to dig into the soil. After digging a dozen times, he hit something. A dark yellow wooden box and a half-decayed object that appears to be part of a long sword. Chan Se drew out a long sword. This rumored long sword pure shadow does not look like a divine artifact at all. He then flicked his finger on the sword. "Are you willing to see the sun again with me?" As soon as the voice fell, the sword body actually trembled gently by itself, emitting strands of spiritual energy. Indeed, it forms its own spirituality. Compared to the longsword pure shadow, the swordsmanship manual left by the lunatic Zwa is not satisfactory. Not as exquisite as the sword intent scroll. However, Chan Se quickly adjusted her mindset. Acquired sword intent scroll. Having the longsword pure shadow is already very good. Take a look at the handleless longsword. Chan Se suddenly had a brilliant idea. Fold a section of the mine on the side. Wrap it around the sword handle. Then channel your spiritual energy. He said to Pure Shadow, "Although you have spirituality, you are limited by gold and iron." The green vine becomes the sword hilt, just right to complement your chi. I will frequently temper it with spiritual energy. As for this swordsmanship manual, it's better to hand it over to the descendant of the Zwa family. Left a few pieces of cake and sauce rabbit legs in front of the tombstone. Chan Se drifts away. As the saying goes, at long last, the sword immortal's tomb was uncovered, and the sacred weapon emerged into the light. On the way back, Chan Se encountered a procession bearing gifts. Listening to their conversation, Chan Se learned that there would be a celebration in the village. A wedding banquet. Should I crash it? Anyway, I'll just give a red envelope. Chan Se hurriedly stepped forward and said, "I've been on the road for a long time. Finally, I've met someone. Can I go to the village to drink some water and stay overnight?" I won't stay for free. At first glance, Chansei's attire looked scholarly. Hastily saying, "If you don't mind, come with us to Zhao family estate." The banquet at Zhao family estate hasn't started yet. Chansei is sitting at a table, listening to others gossip that they are from Ji province. Looks very knowledgeable. Just then, a burst of laughter erupted. Someone shouted, "You wrote it wrong, you wrote it wrong. Why are there 2 more words on the left than on the right?" An old man said. "Confused, confused." Someone suggested, "Isn't there a distinguished scholar over there? Ask him to write one." Writing a happy couplet before a banquet is a local custom here. The elderly has just arrived and hasn't spoken yet. Chansei wants to write a happy couplet? No problem. Consider it a thank you for Elder Zhao's congratulatory gift. The elderly expressed his thanks repeatedly. Chansei's face was full of smiles. Took the pen handed over by the groom. Then he started drawing on the paper. 100 years of love, hearts bound as one. 1,000 miles of fate, connected by a single thread. Even if most people are illiterate, they can still see that the characters are very beautiful. Applaud continuously and cheer loudly. Zhao Laotu even took Chansei to sit at the top, and Chansei did not refuse. The wedding banquet officially begins. Chansei raises her glass with everyone. Celebrate this happy moment together. Suddenly, bursts of joyous energy rose in the sky, gathering in Chansei's sleeves, absorbed by the chess piece. Even the pure shadow sword is circulating spiritual grace. So Chansei benefited a lot. After a long time, the banquet dispersed. Chansei walked towards the arranged residence. Chansei stopped in his tracks as he passed by a land god temple. When midnight arrived and everyone was resting, Chansei walked out of the house again. At the same time, a burst of smoke appeared and manifested at the land god temple. An elderly man with kind eyebrows and gentle eyes walked out. From afar, he bowed respectfully to Chansei, as it was rare for an immortal elder to visit. The humble land god has specially come for this occasion. Chansei returned the gesture, feeling unworthy. "Thank you for your hospitality." The land god asked, "May I ask where your immortal hometown is, sir?" Chansei humbly replied that he didn't have an immortal hometown and simply wandered around. "It seems that the land god is a local, isn't that right? I never expected that the incense at the land god temple is not thriving. There is actually a main deity." The old man looked sentimental. "Yeah, it's almost been 300 years. Is there a specific reason for the land god to appear?" The land god said that it is rare to see those practicing immortal cultivation. Just coming out to take a look. Chansei said that the land god was disappointed. "I am just a small cultivator, not any immortal elder." The land god smiled and kindly said that the gentleman is too modest. "It's much better than I expected." Later, the land god took out a stack of yellow paper and said that there should be words on it. "However, my spiritual power is too weak to see. Sir, could you help me?" It seems there is still something going on. Chansei did not refuse and took the yellow paper to unfold it. There are traces of ink on the top. It reads, "The heavenly tome is finally written." Land god looks eager. "Sir, is this a treasure?" Chansei explained, "The heavenly tome is finally written. Is very difficult. It is rare but not necessarily very valuable. It also depends on the content. By chance, good fortune smiles." At midnight, the land god seeks aid. Chansei continued, "It seems to be the methods of the path of divine cultivation and linking the earth's veins cultivation." Above, the land god immediately performed a respectful salute. "Please, sir, read the content of the book for me. This booklet has been hidden by me for over 100 years. It cannot be torn or shredded. It is impervious to water and fire, and does not absorb spiritual energy or incense smoke. Even the Lord City God in the county is powerless." Chansei is interested. "Oh? Can't even see the city god of a county? The land god is busy and doesn't speak falsely. Sir, can you see the characters above? Please teach me. Chansei opened the book. Land god, don't worry. Let me take a close look. Although the heavenly book is difficult to read, I will definitely be able to see the characters with the guidance of the city god. There must be some other secret involved in this. In the eyes of Chansei, the yellow paper register in hand is undergoing changes. Unexpectedly, there is a chance of circulation. A blurry image is forming on the entire yellow paper. And in the center, black color forms a large character. Command? Subconsciously, utter this character. With a loud bang, a faint sacred radiance flashes by. This large piece of yellow paper has charred spots in many places. Chansei looked very embarrassed. Did I break it? What should I do? While on the side, the land god found that he could actually see the text above. Repeatedly bowing to Chansei, thanking him for breaking the spell, Chansei hurriedly pointed out that the yellow paper had some scorch marks on it. The land god said it's no problem. Mr. Chansei's spiritual power is profound. I would be extremely grateful just to be able to see the characters. Chansei naturally understands. The missing part doesn't affect the main text. Take a moment to think about it. Just discovered that I am in the process of amazing changes. I have gained great benefits. Chansei asked. Land god, where did you get this book from? Land god said that he found this book in the soil while he was alive. He never expected it to appear by his side even after he died. That's when he realized that this book was not ordinary. Chansei apologetically said, It seems like this is your opportunity. If you can break the restriction by yourself, you will gain great benefits. It's actually benefiting me now. Land god expressed satisfaction. If there is no sir, I don't know how long it will take to see the words above. Chansei thought to himself, It's better this way. He can't handle any more opportunities. So he solemnly warned the land god. This booklet is no small matter. Do not let others see it in the future. Learn the cultivation method. In the future, when you have achieved success, do not forget your original intention. I do not want to bear any consequences in the future because of today's actions. Land god deeply bows. At Zhao family estate, land god Zhao, Mr. Zhao, is deeply respected for his teachings. Chansei also returns the bow respectfully. And a new token appears in Chansei's hand. It's late at night, and Chansei sits quietly in the room, entering a meditative state. The artistic conception of the Dan furnace has already appeared on the furnace body. The colors of gold, water, wood, fire, and earth are blended. At the center of the Dan furnace, the two energies of yin and yang have emerged. The furnace fire has also solidified significantly. True fire is described in the Tome of Clarity as a divine fire. The fusion of yin fire and yang fire of the two qi and black and white has now merged into one. Could this be the legendary three true fires? And then there's that command word. There was always a faint echo in the background, as if reminding Chansei that word is still there. Chansei understands. This word is his important opportunity tonight. He walked to the side of the pure shadow sword, with his finger pointed between the swords. It's like reading as the heart moves. The body moves with the thoughts. Chansei made a stroke on the pure shadow sword. A surge of green energy flashed by. Another wisp of dark yellow energy gathered at the fingertips. Command to become spirit. With a buzzing sound, the rust on the sword was instantly shaken off. Surprisingly, the long sword floated up on its own. The sword body is clear and continuously exudes a cold light. The spirituality conceived by the pure shadow sword directly transforms into sword spirit. Now say a sentence that the immortal sword is absolutely deserving of. Although some blood was shed, it seems that this decree cannot be used casually in the future. But this time it will definitely not be in vain. As the saying goes, A kind deed brings unexpected gain. The decree is fulfilled, and the immortal sword is forged. 2 weeks later, Chansei arrived at Juntian Mansion. There isn't really anything outstanding here, to be honest. The only thing worth mentioning. Just that there is a top-ranked Zhuo lunatic. Unfortunately, with the passing of Zhuo lunatic, the entire Zhuo family has been declining for many years. The younger generation now doesn't even know the name Sword Fairy Zhuo. Chansei sighed. Let's try to find the descendants of the Zhuo family. However, because of mastering the 3 true fires, Chansei's spiritual power is stronger now. I always feel that my eyesight has also improved a little. There is a pancake seller in front of me. Chansei was surprised to find out. This person's aura, although not unnatural and supernatural, is still quite unique. It seems to be like a streak of bad luck. Chansei walked up and said, "Hey bro, give me 2 pancakes." Afterwards, he took a bite and surprisingly, the taste was not bad. Chansei wanted to figure out what exactly was on him. So he followed the pancake seller while eating. The seller also noticed, looking puzzled. Suddenly turned around and asked, "Distinguished scholar, what are you following me for?" Chansei only said that. Just praised the delicious pancakes he sold. "2 more, please." The seller scratched his head. "Distinguished scholar, do you want to eat something hot? Just keep following me." Chansei chuckled, with that meaning. So Chansei ate all the way while following him. In the end, he bought more than a dozen pancakes and ate them all. The pancake seller got scared. He brought out the last 2 pancakes and said to Chansei, "They are for you. Please stop following me, okay?" Chansei smiled and said, "Okay, I won't take advantage of you. How about I write a few characters for you as a gift? I'm going to buy some ink and brushes. Wait for me here." The pastry seller reluctantly agreed. Chansei went to the nearby bookstore. Took out 3 cents. Told the boss, "Can I borrow a brush and paper from the shop? Can I write a few words?" The boss took a look at Chansei's outfit and only took 2 cents. He said he is also a scholar. "There are books on the bookshelf. Help yourself." Chansei smiled. Spread out the rice paper and begin writing. "Righteousness triumphs over evil," 4 words spoken fluently. And the boss in the store slightly opened his mouth. These words are written exceptionally well. It kind of shocked him. Chansei walked out with the well-written characters to find the baker. The baker selling the pastries had already run away without a trace. Chansei thought to himself, "I have too much free time. I'm not willing to help others." The bookstore owner lifted the hem of his robe and chased after him from the store. "Customer, please wait. I have some top-quality shin paper here. Can you write a few words for me?" Look at the shopkeeper's face full of anticipation. Chansei handed him the characters in his hand. "How about this one? Just give me back 2 coins. The shop owner was pleasantly surprised and very careful. He took the paper and carefully examined it in his hands. The strokes were strong and powerful. Moreover, it was very grand and should be mounted. Chansei reached out his hand. 2 cents. The boss came to his senses. "Oh, I see. Sir, please wait a moment." Instead of taking 2 cents, he directly grabbed a small handful of silver and handed it over, saying, "Please take it, sir." Chansei laughed. "Oh. Did he directly give a few hundred times more? It can be considered worthy. As the saying goes, a kind heart helps others, but is met with abandonment. A discerning eye recognizes treasure and seeks it with great effort." Chansei continues to wander around Juntian Mansion. Chansei walked to a tea house with good business. A storyteller had just finished telling a story. In this era, storytellers are usually knowledgeable and well-informed. Chansei approached him, bowed, and asked, "May I ask if you know any news about the Zhuo family? They were a prominent family that dominated the Jianghu several decades ago. The old man furrowed his brow and looked closely at Chan Se for a moment. He looked at Chan Se's wide-sleeved blue shirt, wooden hairpin at his hairline, slender hands, and slight physique. He asked, "Are you still a knight-errant, sir?" Chan Se chuckled. "You misunderstand, old sir. I am not a man of the Jianghu. It's just that the ancestors of the Zhou family showed me kindness. That's why I've come to repay their descendants." The old man sighed softly. This is something that very few city people know about. Back in the day, the Zhou family was also prominent and unparalleled in glory. It's a pity that after the death of Sword Fairy Zhou, the sword intent scroll she left behind brought calamity upon their family. Now, the old mansion of the Zhou family has become the Qian's residence. Chan Se stood quietly in front of the old mansion of the Zhou family, which is now known as Qian's residence. I wonder if the Zhou family has really disappeared completely. Muttering to himself, Chan Se passed by a gambling house. During the day, the boss who sells pancakes walked out with an angry face, shouting, "I will definitely win it back." Oh! It turns out that the anger on his head is really bad luck. Too bad, fate and dharma are really wonderful. On the other side, the bookstore owner has already framed Chan Se's calligraphy. This can be considered as a talisman left by Chan Se. Although it doesn't have much power, it should be effective in warding off evil spirits and bad luck. The night watch from the court of the underworld passed by this house. He quietly entered the house to inspect after seeing the sacred radiance great sage. In their eyes, the 4 large characters on the wall present a sense of open and above board, exceptionally dazzling. Even their spiritual power cannot look at it for a long time. Seeing the characters is like seeing a person. The one who wrote these characters. The mood, heart, and level of spiritual cultivation are unfathomable. 2 underworld messengers bow deeply. Take note of this address. We'll also take better care of it in the future. Chan Se arrived at an inn and settled in. He started chatting with the innkeeper. I heard that this inn has been open for over 100 years. Chan Se became interested. Is the innkeeper very familiar with this place? The innkeeper looked very pleased. Sir, feel free to ask me anything you want to know. Chan Se bowed to me in a fist salute. It can also be considered as half of a Jianghu person. I heard that there was a sword fairy's way here decades ago. I want to visit his former residence, but I can't find the Zhou family. It's a pity. The shopkeeper sighed. There are not many people left who ask about the Zhou family now. I only know about the most difficult time for their family. They held a funeral every month. Chan Se asked if the Zhou family still has descendants. The shopkeeper expressed that he was not sure. But outside the city, there is a blacksmith workshop where it is said that the weapons used by the Zhou family were all made there. Even the divine weapon of Sword Fairy Zhou. Chan Se is very happy. Bowing and expressing gratitude, "Thank you, shopkeeper." The next morning, Chan Se arrived early at the blacksmith workshop outside the city, Yin family workshop. The blacksmiths in the shop were busy working with clanging sounds. Chan Se asked, "I want to make a scabbard. Can you do it here?" The blacksmith said it's no problem. Come inside and measure the size of the sword. Chan Se followed with a smile on his face into the house. The blacksmith said, "Sir, could you take out your sword for me to have a look?" Chan Se took out the pure shadow sword and laid it on the table. The blacksmith looked at the sword with curiosity. "The hilt is made of green vine? Your sword is quite unique. Is there a story behind it?" Chan Se smiled faintly. Indeed, this sword has some history. It was forged in your Yin family workshop 80 years ago. The sword's name is Pure Shadow. For a moment, all the noisy hammering sounds in the shop stopped. As the saying goes, perseverance rewards the determined. Do not let fleeting clouds hide the sun forever. The middle-aged blacksmith is laughing. Good name, good name. Maybe it was crafted by ancestors' old master. Chan Se smiled faintly. Master, have you not heard of this name before? The blacksmith hurriedly said he hadn't. But you've seen it for 80 years, and it's still so sturdy. It shows that we make very good quality. Chansei looked at the old blacksmith beside him. Oh, indeed, 80 years is too long. You all forgot that he is the weapon of sword fairies. But you forgot, it does not forget. Right? Just as the words fell, Pure Shadow's sword unexpectedly emitted a burst of sword sound. Chansei continued, I am not an enemy of the Zhua family. It's just that sword fairies has been kind to me. I just want to know if the Zhua family has any descendants. I want to repay them. An old craftsman couldn't help it. He stood up and rebuked. Since you already have the long sword Pure Shadow, the secret manual of sword fairies should also be in your hands. What's the point of looking for his descendants? The Zhua family has already harmed our Yin family enough. We have no information about his descendants. It's none of our business. As soon as these words were spoken, the people in the store began to shout in indignation. It looks like everyone is from the Yin family. Chansei is now an immortal cultivator who can use the eye of the law to observe the aura. Although these people are cursing the member of Zhua family, their aura is surprisingly tense, as if they are hiding something. Chansei laughed heartily and said, No wonder the Zhua family used to be on good terms with your Yin family. He then clasped his fists and bowed in a gesture of respect. It's been several decades since then. You are still protecting the descendants of the Zhua family. Admirable and respectable. Don't worry. I'm not someone from the martial arts world. I don't want anything from the Zhua family. Mortal martial arts have no meaning to me. I just want to help their descendants. The Pure Shadow's sword on the table unexpectedly floated up by itself, revolving around Chansei as if it were alive. Finally, the tip of the sword pointed downwards, suspended in front of Chansei. Everyone was stunned, speechless, and holding their breath. There was only one common thought in everyone's mind: sword fairy. The middle-aged blacksmith asked with a cautious attitude, Honored guest, are you sword fairies? No. Are you the immortal being that Senior Lizua has been tirelessly searching for? Chansei replied calmly. Immortal being, more accurately speaking, is a practitioner of immortal cultivation Tao. Are there still descendants of the Zhua family? If not, then I will take my leave. And this time, no one dared to dismiss these words as nonsense. Since you are an immortal being, you must have nothing to do with seeking revenge in the martial arts world. An old blacksmith bows and greets with clasped hands. I dare not deceive a mortal elder. The Zhua family indeed still has descendants. Later, he opened a small door beside him and said, Yutian Yoshin, come out and meet immortal elder. Call the others over as well. It sounds like there are quite a few descendants of the Zhua family. About 10 minutes. Chansei finally saw a nervous face. Excited member of Zhua family. Of course, they all now bear the surname Yin. The elderly man said, Mr. Chan, these are all the descendants of the Zhua family. We have done our best. Looking at these descendants of the Zhua family, they lack any sense of vigor. Chansei thought to himself, perhaps this is also a good thing. So he waved his hand. The Pure Shadow's sword flew over automatically. All the members of the Zhua family touched the hilt lightly with their hands. I want to make sure. Are you all real? As the saying goes, the title of an immortal is no simple honor. In the end, they sought the heirs of the sword fairy. Pure Shadow's sword and sword fairies will have a special connection. They can discern whether these people are real or fake. Watching them touch the Pure Shadow's sword one by one, the sword rings crisply. This can prove that they are indeed descendants of sword fairies. Chansei hesitated. Should he give them the secret book left by sword fairies? They are now living a peaceful life. Should they take the secret book and re-enter the martial arts world? However, reality struck Chansei in the face. A middle-aged member of the Zhua family handed him a booklet, saying it was the swordsmanship manual left by their grandfather. All right. I underestimated you. Did you have it all along? So, the truth should be that sword fairies will pass down the swordsmanship manual to later generations. But no matter how good the martial arts are, it depends on who practices them. As a result, in the end, there was no one in the Zhou family who could fight. They were forced into ruin and suffered great losses. Chansei took out a handwritten letter from Li Zuo's chest. Pass it on to the descendants of the Zhou family. As for the law sword Pure Shadow, Chansei hasn't finished speaking yet. The suspended Pure Shadow sword rang out with a clear sound and immediately flew back behind him. Only the hilt of the sword is showing. Chansei smiled and said, "What are you afraid of? Now you are Pure Shadow's sword." Then turning to the people of the Zhou family, he said, "This long sword can't be given to you, but Li Zuo has taken care of it for me for decades. I appreciate his kindness. Now, I'll give you two options. First, I will do my best to leave behind a decree. May it ensure the peace and security of your home. No disasters, no evils. It can also help you save face. Please have the city god take care of your family. After death, you can also enter the court of the underworld for a position. Secondly, I can stay here for a while to guide you in learning sword techniques and impart the true essence of sword techniques. How do you plan to choose?" They looked puzzled. Chansei said, "You don't need to answer now. Consider it overnight. Tell me tomorrow." After bidding farewell to the Yin family blacksmith, Chansei said, "I will come back tomorrow." The blacksmith hurriedly bowed and replied, "Yes, Mr. Chan, take care." The immortal being is leaving. No one dares to stop him. Everyone can only watch as Chansei departs. As soon as they left, everyone couldn't hold back, excitedly shouting, "We saw an immortal being! Can you believe there is actually an immortal being? No wonder the younger generation of the Zhou family has not achieved much." It turns out that the ancestor received guidance from the immortal being. Uncle Baran. Who will you choose? Everyone started discussing excitedly, one after another, with overwhelming excitement. The eldest elder of the Yin family cleared his throat a few times. Let member of Zhou family decide on this matter by themselves. Everyone else, please leave. Member of Zhou family asked, "Uncle Yin?" "We are." The old man interrupted directly, saying, "I've already said it. You all decide on this matter yourselves." He then picked up the teacup from the table. The junior members of the Zhou family busily said, "Grandpa Yin, I'll take care of it." The elder hurriedly took away the cup. "Do you understand? This is what the immortal being has drunk. I want to take it to offer." At night, members of the Zhou family gathered together. They started discussing which one to choose. Until the next morning. The Yin family members found out they had not slept all night. But this was normal. It would be very upsetting for ordinary people. Chansei arrived as promised. He came to the blacksmith workshop and asked, "Have you made your selection?" Member of Zhou family said they have not decided yet. The elder of the Yin family was greatly surprised. "You all?" A member of the Zhou family bowed to Chansei. "Mr. Chan, may I ask you a question?" Chansei smiled and replied, "Go ahead." Did the ancestors' martial arts skills rely more on Mr. Chan's guidance or on his own talent? They really think that sword fairies with sword techniques are related to immortal beings. Chansei replied calmly, "Li Zuo is a martial arts genius, so naturally talent plays a majority role." "Mr. Chan, we have decided. Choosing the first one. As the saying goes, the guidance of an immortal holds value, but personal talent is of higher worth." The leader, descendant of the Zhou family, made a gesture with his hands. "As long as we don't forget our family name for one day. Then one day, we will be able to take it back ourselves. Please, sir, first ensure our safety." Chansei laughed, slapped the table, and stood up. "Well done. Rui is back." He picked up the brush on the table, dipped it lightly in ink, and then painted freely on the rice paper. Peace, stability, and good health. Unscathed by all evil. Define your purpose and strive with vigor. Effort will be rewarded. When the law is complete, a radiant light visible to all will flash on the paper and vanish in an instant. Chansei said, "This decree is specifically for the descendants of the Zhou family. Even if others steal it, it will be ineffective. If the bloodline of the Zhou family is cut off, then the decree will self-destruct." As the voice fell, the sky outside suddenly brought down bursts of lightning, as if echoing Chansei's words. With Chansei in high spirits, standing with a sword in hand, a member of the Zhou family, "Look out! Don't blink." Shortly after, the whole person turned into a dancing drifting dragon, running with a sword in the yard. The figure is elusive. Sword techniques are boundless. At this time, a light rain started falling from the sky. But in front of Chansei's sword, not a drop of water can approach. It then followed the sword light's unpredictable movement. On the side, member of Zhou family and Elder Yin were staring fixedly at the immortal being dancing with a sword in the rain. They didn't even dare to blink. This is the true appearance of an immortal being, extraordinary and otherworldly. Chansei took the sword and said, "This is the true essence of drifting dragon. How much you can comprehend will depend on yourselves." After speaking, he turned around and went into the house. Elder Yin bowed and said, "I just forgot to step aside. Please forgive me, sir." Chansei chuckled and raised the teacup. "I don't mind at all. Who would have any objections?" "Elder Yin is very happy, thank you, sir." Descendant of the Zhou family also bowed in respect. "Thank you for your grace, sir. We are willing to forever worship your immortal status." Chansei looked at descendant of the Zhou family and admonished, "This decree will ensure your safety." "Naturally, there is no problem.